If you've been thinking about starting a GLP-1, but you are putting it off until after the holidays, I'm going to tell you why I think you should start now instead of waiting. Let's stop pretending like January 1st is some magical date that immediately makes everything easier. And if you don't know who I am Nikki, the creator of the GLP-1 Girl Code, and I have been on a GLP-1 medication for over 2.5 years. I started in March of 2023 at 258 pounds, and I'm currently sitting around 191, 190. I've taken both semaglutide and tirzepatide. I've had the side effects, I've had the setbacks, the stalls, the plateaus. I have pretty much experienced it all, including watching people who started with me in maintenance and people who started after me pass me by, which means I know how frustrating this medication can be, and I know what it feels like to be a super slow loser. And on this channel, I share it all. I share everything honestly and authentically. So if that's your vibe, definitely hit that subscribe button. But let's talk about how everybody right now is starting to say the famous line, I'm just gonna wait until after the holidays. I'm going to wait until January 1st. I'm going to set my goals and everything is going to change next year. And if we're being honest, I have said this many times as well, but not this year. When you first started GLP-1, you need to stop and listen to your body without making all of these drastic changes. Some people will start a GLP-1 and they'll completely change their diet. They'll completely overhaul their life. And then they're complaining that they're hungry or that something's going wrong, but they don't actually know if it's a GLP-1 or all of those giant life changes that they've made. So when you first started GLP-1, my best advice is to start easy. Take your medication, make a few very small changes to your routine, and then listen to your body. And we're going to talk about the small changes that I would recommend starting as soon as you start a GLP-1 and why you can make all of these changes now before January 1st. And then on January 1st, you can make those big dramatic lifestyle changes that you want to make on January 1st, but you will already know how the GLP-1 works in your system. Likely, you'll already be down 10, 15, maybe even 20 pounds. So you'll have that motivation and momentum to go into the new year with this massive goal of changing everything you eat and changing your exercise routine and doing all of the things into the new year, but you're not starting a GLP-1 at the same time you are making all of those changes. Imagine the holidays not revolving around food, but revolving around spending time with your family and friends. Imagine enjoying all of the events and everything that comes with the holiday season without losing control around food. That can happen on a GLP-1. Here's my best advice when it comes to starting a GLP-1 medication. Don't go crazy. Don't change everything. Do not overhaul your entire life as soon as you start a medication. You need to take the time to figure out how the medication is going to affect you. You cannot depend on anything you've seen on social media or anything someone has told you personally on how the medication has affected them, because it's likely to affect you completely different. Here are the things that I think you should pay the most attention to when you first start a GLP-1. First of all, you need to figure out what day you are going to take your GLP-1 medication. You need to choose a morning or a night that you feel like you can stick to and be consistent with. Consistency is key. You need to make sure you are taking that injection on the exact same day every single week, whether it's morning or night. It does not need to be the exact same hour. But if you're going to do a night injection, do a night injection. If you're going to do a morning injection, do a morning injection. For me, I tend to prefer a morning injection because I can go about my day and forget that I took the injection. When I take a night injection, I will go to bed and I will just think about the injection, and then it'll make me super anxious. And it's hard for me to fall asleep after taking an injection. But that's just me. Next super important part is making sure that you are drinking water. Every single day, you should be getting as much water into your system as possible. Ask ChatGPT how much water you should drink, and ChatGPT will give you a perfect number depending on you. If water doesn't feel like enough, add electrolytes. The next thing I would highly recommend is starting a supplement routine and making sure that you are getting fiber supplements and B12. Those are the two supplements that I highly recommend for anyone who's starting a GLP-1. B12 is going to help with energy, and it's going to make sure that you don't feel fatigued and just crappy because of the GLP-1. Most people, whether they're on a GLP-1 or not, are not getting enough B12 into their diet. So if you are noticing that you are feeling low in energy and just really tired all the time, it's likely due to B12. So just be proactive and take a B12 supplement. My favorite B12 supplement is Triquetra's B12. I will link it down below in case you want to use mine. Since it's in its bioavailable form, your body doesn't have to like break it down. It just gets used immediately, and it's really affordable. It's like $20. And one of my favorite supplements that I have literally ever taken. I take it every single morning, and I have since September of 2024. The next supplement that I would highly recommend is Belly Welly. And the reason why I highly recommend Belly Welly is because there are multiple women inside the GLP-1 Girl Code who have told me that they also take Belly Welly and they love it. They say that it helps with so many things in regards to a GLP-1, especially digestion. Belly Welly is specifically made to help with digestion. It's going to make sure that your body is digesting things and hopefully going where it needs to go at a good solid pace. And it helps with other things as well. It's not just a fiber supplement. I highly recommend it. I also recommend GLP-1 Pre by Triquetra just because it's a fiber supplement. One of the biggest side effects that people deal with while starting a GLP-1 is constipation. And if you start and you're proactive with a fiber supplement, then you are less likely to see constipation. I'm not saying that you won't, but get ahead of the game and be proactive. I do not think that you should be drastically overhauling what you eat. However, I will put a little warning here that if you eat high fatty foods or sugar on the days of your injection or the days after your injection, like the first or second day, the likelihood of you having like upset stomach or diarrhea is multiplied. However, there are some of you that won't have that on certain doses and some of you that will. Like it's really about learning how your body is going to react on the medication. And the whole point of starting this process now instead of waiting until January 1st is that by January 1st, you will have a good understanding of how this medication works in your body. You will know if you're going to have certain side effects. You will know what you can and can't eat. You will know all of these things in the next 3 months before January 1st. And then on January 1st, you can make the changes you want to make. You can change your diet. You can add in exercise. You can do all of the things on January 1st like you want to do, but you will be ahead of the game if you already know how a GLP-1 acts in your body. Here's what's going to happen. If you wait until January 1st to start your GLP-1 and you have low energy, fatigue, your stomach is upset, you're having side effects that you didn't know you were going to have, and you have all these goals to go exercise and to do all of these things, and you can't do those things because your GLP-1 is literally making it so difficult. Now you're into February and March before you can actually make those changes because you're trying to figure out how your body reacts to the medication, and it's just pushing it further and further along. Now, there will be some of you that started a GLP-1 and you have zero side effects. There's actually a vast majority of you that starts a GLP-1 and has absolutely no side effects. Congratulations. I wish I was you. But the side effects are not so difficult that you can't just like go on with your typical daily life. For most of us, the side effects are nausea, diarrhea, constipation. Most people aren't throwing up, they're just getting nauseous, and it's something that they can take a nausea pill and feel better. But wouldn't it be nice to know that you need that pill before January 1st when you're trying to wake up at 5 a.m. and go exercise because you've made a New Year's resolution to exercise every single day at 5 a.m.? You'll already know what you're dealing with by then if you start your GLP-1 now. A lot of people will talk about not wanting to be on a GLP-1 during the holidays because they want to enjoy holiday food and they're worried that they're not going to be able to eat the sweets and the sugar, and who cares if you can't eat those things? I also don't live my life around what I'm eating and what I'm not eating. I just eat what's easiest. So for me on a GLP-1, I eat whatever is easiest to eat. I don't like to cook, so I tend to just go and get fast food because it's easier and faster. I recently bought a Breville air fryer, which is like that giant one, like the Pro, and I love to cook in there, but it's still not super healthy food. People are still gonna call it junk food. Here's the thing, you can eat what you wanna eat on a GLP-1 as long as your body can handle it. You're going to learn what you can and can't eat. You're going to learn what you want to eat. You're going to learn that if you want to make changes to what you're eating, you absolutely can. This is your journey, your story. We don't need to do what other people are telling us to do. But if you want to get started on a GLP-1, you probably want to start before January 1st. That's the whole point I'm trying to make, is that you can wait until January 1st to get started on a GLP-1. You can wait until after the holidays. You can put it off. Just know that it might be a little bit more difficult to hit those goals on January 1st if you're also starting a GLP-1. If you start earlier, then you know how it's going to act in your body. Inside the GLP1 Girl Code, we are also doing a 30-day challenge starting on November 1st. It's a thankfulness and gratitude challenge where every single day we are going to write something that we are thankful for, celebrate the wins every single day, the month of November inside the GLP1 Girl Code. And starting in January, we are going to go hard with a 30-day challenge of tracking everything that we eat in some sort of way and putting it into the GLP1 Girl Code. There's definitely a way to start GLP-1s before the holidays that's not going to turn your life upside down. Because in my opinion, when you start a GLP-1, you should not be turning your life upside down. You should be starting slow on the lowest possible dose that you can start on, figuring out how your body is going to react to that dose. And then when you feel good and comfortable, you can make those drastic changes. Okay, so after all of this, if you are ready to get started on a GLP-1, I get my GLP-1 from Elara. Elara is a full-service telehealth company. They handle everything from the medical questionnaire to sending it to the doctor to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy sending the meds directly to your door. There are no additional membership fees. You can get started for as little as $145 on semaglutide and as low as $235 on tirzepatide. And you could start this journey with me today. Head down there, click on the link, sign up, get started. We are making big plans for 2026, but you have to start now. You've got to be ready on January 1st. You need to know how these medications are going to affect you so that we can make those solid goals and move into the new year with a solid plan. Okay, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below. If you made it all the way to the end, go ahead and put a Christmas tree emoji so that I know you are my ride or dies. And then watch this video next. And just remember that you are always doing better than you think. You've got this. I will see you in my next video. Bye.